my objective for the next minutes will be to give you in front of the screens some up-to-date news regarding LogX. As it is stated on the screen, that will be part, of course, for the other flavor of Beta Unix. Briefly, for my person, though Neil said that I've been working with Beta Systems for quite a while now, and I have been working in different positions, like that in all the positions in different countries as well. Um, Still, I wouldn't take it for granted that the people in front of the screen know me. So very brief introduction. My name is Sven Neubert Pajadon, product manager of the product Beta Control that you saw yesterday, and also for part of the Beta Unix family, so LogX. And in that position of a product manager, I would like to give you some insights for the current version 8.1.0 or 8.1. It should stop there for the beginning for LogX. First of all, you might ask yourselves, and is why are we talking about LogX when we talk about the Lighthouse generation, which is basically the successor of the Symphony generation, being the family for the well-known ZOS products like Beta JobZ, JackZ, LogZ that you saw just before. And yesterday you saw the DocZ family. So this is the actual mainframe classic family, if you want to. But with DocX and LogX, who make up Beta Unix, as you see that briefly stated on the screen here, with this, we joined the Lighthouse family. So this goes with the statement that you have heard in the beginning yesterday. Mirko was talking about in his opening statement about feature parity, putting the products together when you move between platforms Z to X, or you have the need on both platforms, on Z as well as on X. So if this is the case, and for that very reason, we decided to include the product Beta Unix as the technical implementation with their flavors DocX for the document management part and LogX for the log management part. So we decided to bring them under the umbrella of the Lighthouse family, not to get mixed up with that musical group Lighthouse family who were known in the 80s. So it's our Lighthouse family from Beta Systems. So as I said, LogX, now I'm concentrating on my product for a second, LogX becomes part of this Lighthouse family. And with this, the version 5 that we have released in 2021 becomes version 8. Features that we have accepted and that we had announced in the past for version 5.4, for example, are included in that version 8. One feature has been mentioned by Markus earlier. I will actually mention it in a few moments again. It's the single sign-on. This is something that was requested and asked for in the past, and we have included that with Beta Unix now with that new version. As I said, that's for Beta DocX. It's exactly the same. Version 5 becomes version 8. So features that had been agreed to be implemented in version 5.34 in the past will be implemented in this new version 8 and higher. Nonetheless, version 5, as you know it, how it is in place in your environments, becomes, of course, it stays under support. There is a new service pack currently being prepared, the 5.3.1, which will be delivered in due time. So version 5 remains in support, but new features, and you will see some of them will be implemented in version 8. As I said, part of the Lighthouse family now, so along with the brothers and sisters from the mainframe. New with Lighthouse, The features, the information that I will give you in the next minutes concern both products, LogX and DocX. So because this is underlying technology, this is underlying implementation, which is not specific to either document or log management. So this what you see on the screen here, and for which I have some more slides in a minute. This is valid for both products. So first of all, there will be, or is the single sign-on that was briefly mentioned by Marcus in the session on Beta View. Then it is important that we are now cloud ready for the S3 archiving with the Hitachi flavor. Activity audit feature, that's something I will briefly talk about. Then we have long RACF entities that we support with the new version 8. Security improvements have been included. And as usual, I would say for the last one, REST API improvements have been made. They are necessary when we connect to, for example, the front-end beta administrator parts of the API where we have possibility to optimize. That's been done as well. But already for the first parts, the long RACF identity, single sign-on, and also the cloud readiness with S3 and the activity audit feature, you can imagine that this is not just coding in one program, but that there is also some more, for example, database updates included. So this way, it was really also worthwhile to actually including that into the new version rather than porting it back to version 5 and having it in both half and half. So everything that you see here is available with version 8, which is now the latest supported version for Beta DocX and LogX. So some details on some of the features. First, the single sign-on. Marcus said it, or Marcus introduced in his presentation on Beta View, the new look and feel that all the front ends now adhere to the new look and feel of beta systems that you might know from the website, or that you not might know that you know already from the beta systems website. The products, also beta admin, have of course been prepared to show that as well. That's just the underlying fact that you can see from the screen that you have in front of you now. The important part here that is part of that is that you now have, and Marcus spent some minutes on that, is that you have now the possibility to use single sign-on when you connect from the administration interface, which is a web interface, to the backend, to the Beta Unix backend. As principle behind is exactly as Marcus showed it for Beta View, because both are web applications. So you can now log on using single sign-on, or you can stick to the old method that you have implemented. Either way will work fine. That's new. Of course, there is some configuration. Yes, Marcus actually had some screens or had some samples on his presentation as well. Of course, you need to configure the Unix server that actually receives the authentication information and deals with it. And you have to, of course, configure that in the beta administration interface as well. So both sides need to know what to do when someone tries to log on using single sign-on. More details in the documentation, more details from the colleagues who will be happy to accompany when introducing that feature in your environment. Second is the S3 archive. So here's not that much to see. Of course, here as well, there's some configuration necessary in order to support that feature. There is a new program that actually provides that archiving, and here as well, more information. All the documentation that goes with that. Important is to know, and therefore it says, or it states here precisely Hitachi, that if you talk about S3 readiness and archiving using S3, there is some general proceeding that is valid for more application than just one, for mostly all applications, but there is very specific features according to the provider that you are connecting to. And therefore, whenever you need to connect to an S3, S3, I do apologize. It's Friday afternoon. To a S3 archiving system. Whenever you need that, please have a look at this, contact us so that we can see whether or not we have to enhance the S3 protocol that we are using, the features that we are using with that program, what or whether and what we have to add to implement in order to support your provider that you actually handle with S3. So that's S3 archiving flavor, Hitachi in that case. Here are some slides on the configuration, which is not that important right now. Active auditing, this is something that was part of the opening speech. So because we talk about compliance in a wider sense, and the ability to see who had changed what and from what to what, and when did that person do that, who was that person, etc. All the information about changing settings in your environment, about keeping track of who is doing what. This is something that was also mentioned in the presentation of my colleague Gerald yesterday for the LogX family, because this is something in some products we have that already. In other products like the LogX family, we have it available now. Here in Beta Unix, we have it available now as well. This is something that becomes more and more important in your enterprises, in your environments. And in order to support that need, in order to provide for this information, we have also implemented that feature in the Beta Unix subfamily, if you want to, because the larger family is Lighthouse, smaller one is the Beta Unix part. And we have implemented that in Beta Unix. So that is available for Beta LogX and for Beta LogX alike. You see it here briefly on the screen. Everything that is being done to definitions can be logged, and important as well is, of course, if you do not need that, you do not wish that, for example, for a testing environment, there might not be that need in order to manage to control everything. You need to switch it on. This is done using a parameter in the configuration file in the lst.txt. So this is something that gives you information about what has been changed. Here, briefly, this is what it looks like in the output of that new program, AAF exit that we provide. And then you have a brief for those who are familiar with the settings, with the configuration of Beta Unix. Here you have a brief view on how this would look in the lst.txt as well. So this is possible via batch, and this is the statement that needs to be configured. And so that I can actually show you something in the interface as well. So just briefly here, the new admin interface. So brief look at that. With this query, you can actually get the information. So the query that you see on the screen, left-hand side, is actually a query that gives you the information that has been written by that program aaf.exe. And you see on the right-hand side the information that you would get from this query, or as we have seen on the previous slide, you would have it in the protocol as well when the program runs. So Next would be, or next is the long user and group names. So that's the long security entities. And this has been implemented on demand as well. So we have now the possibility to enter group names, passwords, etc., with a length of 64 bytes rather than 8 bytes as it was up to now. There will be new database tables. There will be extensions to the database tables. But whatever you have configured today will still work. So this is an enhancement, and the mapping will be done automatically. Here you see that that the last line, the short names automatically. Short names means the names that we have today, the 8-byte names, are automatically evaluated during the insert of those new tables. So that was information that is for both flavors. So that was beta LogX, beta docx alike. That's new with version 8 of this product, beta Unix. Since we are talking about LogX, and my slot was announced as information beta LogX, scheduler information. Briefly the question, and just focusing on that, what do we do in the context of scheduler logs? Why is this important? What do we do? What have we new with that? Let's start with the question, why is it interesting and helpful to have beta LogX? That the point being that beta LogX is available in order to collect and archive research as well, so search for information, collect and archive output, log output from different sources. And it is stated here from various schedulers, because that's the main source that actually triggers jobs in an automatically handled environment. So it's mainly schedulers. But with this, we mustn't forget that there might be other job log sources as well. So that might be ZOS jobs, for example, Stefan, and also the colleagues, Romy, Julian, and Dennis. They actually did everything manually. They didn't do anything with a scheduler. They were on the mainframe. Here we are on the Unix part, but whatever they did on the mainframe part, that could be actually sent using a program from the mainframe back to beta LogX in that part, because one of the readers for beta LogX is the ZOS reader. So the strength, the main strength, the main point is that we actually deal with the pain, with the need that we have different readers according to different source types, which makes it possible that you read in data, job log data from different output sources, be it a ZOS, as I just stated, be it Control M, which we have on offer for really a long time, or be it other schedulers. I come to what we have on offer in just a second. Important is that we actually can handle logs coming from different sources. Those logs are in a joined, in a common environment. They stored in just one environment rather than having different points. With beta LogX, they are also secured in the sense of, in beta Unix, you can actually define who is allowed to see what information. So you can do that on a log basis. You can see who exactly, which user exactly is allowed to see what. And for the archiving part, which is very often required in the sense of auditing, for example, using definitions, for example, user groups in, not user groups, job groups in beta Unix, beta LogX, you can define exactly for how long a log is supposed to be in the archive, also to be archived, and after the extension, archive. Yeah, after expiration, not the extension. I do apologize. After the expiration of that time that has been defined by the log, by the settings in the systems, after the expiration of that archive period, the log is automatically being deleted. So you can assure that you have all the various information from the different sources in one system. This information, these logs are secured as far as the access by users is concerned. And you also can have the logging or the archiving period defined, and after the expiration, as I said before, this log is deleted automatically. So why is it of interest? And I now come briefly to the researching, to the searching part, to the user part, because they are sitting in front of the screen. Why is it helpful and useful that we actually can handle different inputs, different log sources? Yeah, we have those sources. We have Atomic for quite a while. We have Control for quite a while. Beginning of this year, we actually released Stonebranch, and we have ZOS input that we can handle. And we will release in the next days also the reader for Micro Focus Enterprise server output. So these are the job output sources that we support with BetaLogX, and that's of quite an interest for some of the users that are sitting in the front of the screen and looking for information, because I put here a screenshot from BetaView that you can see. And if you have a look at, this is um, a typical user having a look at this log, searching for, and you can see that on the screen. Here we are using different various parameters. Markus was talking about BetaView earlier, not going into detail, just outlining that when you select for the source, in our case ZOS that is mentioned here, you have something that is called submit time. So that's specific to ZOS. There you have the submit of a job. That's what you saw with the colleagues just a few moments ago. Then the job will be started by the JAS. It will end and it will be read into the colleagues. It was beta log Z. Here it is log X. So this is submit time, start time, end time. I would put the attention on the submit time, because this is specific to ZOS jobs. Then you have ZOS specific parameters like, for example, the submit user, or also a message class, which is specific to ZOS. I will not talk about the rest because that's BetaView in more detail, or BetaLogX in more detail, but concentrating on the differentiation ZOS output versus next, for example, Control M output. Here you do have a start time, end time, as you have it for ZOS. Oh, I do apologize. You see it here for yourselves. It's not Control M. It's UC4. Control M would different again. But just to have the difference here, for the Atomic UC4 output, you have not a submit time, but you have rather an activation time, which means the job as well is triggered by something, is activated, but the job itself starts at a later point, which will be the start time then. But in order to actually handle those different wordings, those different labels, those jobs are handled differently also, because what you see here, because there are other parameters, other values that come with the job. With the UC4, you have a client, you have a run number, and a system, for example. There are other parameters that are of interest as well, just showing that this is one of the strengths that BetaLogX offers. Of course, here with its interface for the users, BetaView, that different sources are handled accordingly. And the last slide that I have here is something that I was talking about, the UAC jobs from Stonebranch that we have released beginning of this year. So here you see this looks, again, totally different. You have totally different values. Here you have workflow source versions. This is not the case for the other systems that we knew. So here as well, a different source had been connected to BetaLogX. And this is the case for the other systems, the other source systems that we connect to BetaLogX as well. As I said, in the next few days, we will release the support of Micro Focus Enterprise server output, which still is different in its handling, which is different in its philosophy itself. Important for us is that there was the need to archive this output that is produced in the Micro Focus Enterprise server, which is an emulation of a ZOS. So it's ZOS-like output, drop output, but it is not ZOS drop output. So we have to handle it a bit differently, but there is already a basis. But again, new source that we will connect to. So this is the very strong part of LogX. If you want to, for scheduler output, for job output, different sources can be connected in just one system. That might be different instances, of course, but it's one system. It's the LogX. And according to the sources, you can use the interface in order to search interface beta view, which itself is or has been part of the family of the Lighthouse before Symphony family for quite a while. So Beta LogX, Beta DocX are the last babies that joined this family. That's what I wanted to tell you today. We will be happy to exchange with you whenever this is needed. If you have questions, please contact the representatives that are known to you, or go to the website, ask for a talk with us. We will be happy to exchange, as I said. With this, I will give back to Niels. Hope I could give you some information regarding Beta LogX.